all you cool cats and kittens. Welcome back to another episode of Stardew Valley Tools Aren't Real Edition. We're back on the farm yet again, here to
Heyo.
get some friends, some other types of things like money, and eventually perfection.
Jared, we need to get exactly 29 gold today, or maybe 39. It's hard to say.
Okay.
'Cause,
I see what you're going for.
right? It's just too good of an opportunity to miss.
Do we have anything that sells for 1 gold?
That is a great question. I am not sure. Yeah, I'm actually not committed to this bit at all.
Okay.
We can try to figure it out if you want, but I think this is already a special number. 424213.
Yeah. Which 1-3 adds to 4, so.
Oh, there we go. It's kind of 42424 if you think about it.
And this is why numerology is lame and doesn't make
That's why
sense.
numerology is cool, Jared.
No.
Have I talked about the book The Chosen on this podcast?
No.
This isn't podcast, whatever we're doing.
I'm assuming that it's different than the TV show The Chosen, though.
It is different. Every time someone tries to tell me about the TV show, I think, "Oh my goodness, they made a show of that book," but it's unrelated.
Yeah.
It's about two Jewish boys in like 1945, I think. Like the founding of Israel is important at the end of the book.
Okay.
Small spoiler for world history. Anyway, there's a big numerology scene in it, and that's where I learned about numerology. It's a really fascinating book if you're interested. Yeah, it's like about one really Orthodox Jewish boy and one very like liberal Jewish boy, and like how they came from really similar backgrounds, both reading the Talmud with their fathers for hours a day. But when they meet each other, their beliefs are just different enough that they hate each other. And it's a very sweet story about those boys and how they heal and how they choose to move forward with their lives.
Oh, nice. I thought it was going to be about hating each other.
No, that's just the premise, not the plot.
All right. Well, good for the author that wrote that.
Yeah. Wow, we got very off track. We play Stardew Valley and we don't use tools while we play Stardew Valley. Oh, Babarma, good old Chaim Potok. I'm probably saying that name wrong, but yeah, it sounds like you're familiar. That's the author.
That is such a wild pronunciation that I'm trying to imagine how it would be spelled, and I can't.
It's Chaim, like chain, but with an M instead of an N.
What?
And then Potok, Potok.
I bet that person has a brother, maybe a twin with the same name, and they have a musical like crunk rap group called Two Chains.
I bet that's true, yeah. I'm not going to look it up, but that feels right.
That's a canon event. Berkeley, I was thinking about this as I was falling asleep last night. I think that I need to clear some land and grow some hardwood trees on our farm because the desert is taking too long and I am not a patient person.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense to me.
And when I say I'm not a patient person, I mean in video games. In real life, I think I like to think that I am fairly patient.
Well, then you can keep thinking that.
Thanks. Thank you. Thanks for not shattering my own illusion of grandeur.
Paparma says he's off the chain.
Off the chain.
And he's a chain smoker. Gamble, it sounds like Hayam? Oh,
Hayam.
I really did butcher that pronunciation. Jeez, okay. Like L'chaim.
Oh, it's got like a little bit of the throat sound in it.
I'm assuming.
That's
if
really
it's spelled like chain but pronounced Hayam.
That's really
Hayam.
Interesting. Language, like in America, we don't do too much of that, but there's a lot of languages that do have a lot of like non-enunciated sounds that matter to the meaning of the word. It's crazy to me. I think you have to be on another level in terms of listening and like vocalizing to understand that if you're not raised around it.
Yeah. Thanks for the pronunciation guides, Campbell. I had no idea. I've been telling people about this book for years. I'm so embarrassed. Um, yeah, I took a couple linguistics classes in college, and one of the main things I learned is that the the English H sound makes no sense. Like, just in terms of the way that you make it with your physical mouth, it's so different from any other like phonemes that we have. Very weird.
Yeah, why is that? Like,
Couldn't tell you.
who came up with H?
I think we just did German badly, is how we came up with H.
Well, the people who did German goodly turned out terrible, so I'm fine with that.
Bobarma says we only accidentally make throat sounds when we say behest. Behest.
I can't even really do it. You do have to get the tongue involved somewhat. Yeah, that's strange. It makes me feel weird in my inside of my skull to do that sound with my mouth.
Jared, I see that we have 90 apricots in this chest.
Yeah.
I would like to turn some of those into jam and wine since we're running low on starfruit. Do you mind
Absolutely.
if I take most of those?
Yeah, go for it. I have been very successful in my friend making campaign. I am maybe not as much as I thought. Okay. I definitely need to be doing more on my friendship campaign, but we have so much fruit coming in that it shouldn't matter.
Nice. Okay. That's great. Thanks.
I'm getting there. I've got full hearts with Linus and then half hearts with like 12 people, and then it kind of tapers off to the dwarf and Krobus, who I have 0 hearts with.
Yeah, that's honestly pretty good overall. Have you been able to talk to the dwarf at all?
I have, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, and they like apricots too, which is a sweet touch.
Yeah, everyone likes all the fruit that comes off of fruit trees, except for a few people love one of them.
There was one person I talked to that didn't like something I gave them, but
really?
Maybe it wasn't a fruit from a fruit tree. Who knows? With me, it could have been anything. I wish you could pick up the animals and give them to people.
Hi, this is a chicken named Buttload.
I hope you like his brother, Crap Ton.
And here's a pig named Quality Bob. You can't have him, but you may pet him once. That will be 10 gold, please.
And you have to like it.
And you have to like it. That's a rule. When I was a little kid, we used to, just a conversation topic between me and my siblings was different party games that can be played at birthday parties. And my brother was like 6 at the time, and he came up with a game called the Spice Game, where you take the spice rack and you sniff each spice, and if you don't like one of them, you're out. It was like for when he was 6. It's become a deep part of our family lore because we love the idea so much.
Yeah, that is awesome. If you don't like it, you're out. But you have to be honest. You can't lie about liking them all.
Right, yeah.
I think the smell of cumin it's a little too pungent for me sometimes.
Oh, guess what? You're out. When
I
we get
know.
to the C's,
I know.
It's over. It's over for you.
Wait, your spice rack is alphabetized?
No, it's not. I don't know how to organize a spice rack.
Well, that's apparent. Alphabetized is the way. All right, I need a bunch of ore, and I was not fast enough getting to Gus. So instead, we're going to go into the forest and try to get more seedlings for our attempt at hardwood farming.
Cool. I am just running around picking berries, trying to get that foraging level to 10 so that I can get that good truffle gold.
Speaking of leveling and games that might have introduced leveling to the rest of the world, namely D&D, that was probably the worst tie-in ever. Tell us about Baldur's Gate, Berkeley. You've been playing it some more. I want to hear more about it.
Oh, man. I've been playing Baldur's Gate every single day so much. It's all I think about. It's Yeah, it's a wonderful game. So we talked about this last week, but it's like Dungeons and Dragons in a video game. So it's all turn based. There's lots of die rolling when you try to convince someone of something, or when you try to sneak past something, or when you try to disarm a trap. Um, you you roll dice to make those happen. Uh, all the combat is based on dice as well. It's got all the same classes and spells and races as Dungeons and Dragons Fifth Edition. They did a really impressive job just porting all of the rules into a video game, and I love it. There's really cool characters. So you get to create your own custom character at the beginning of the game, and then over the first like 10 hours or so, you pick up to 7 other NPCs. And then you can have up to 3 of those in your party at a time. So you've got 4 people running around. And it makes it feel like Dungeons and Dragons in a way that I haven't felt from other video games. So kudos to Baldur's Gate. It has been a time sink. I was telling Jared that in like the 2 weeks of playing this, my wife and I combined have gotten more hours in Baldur's Gate than I have in like the 2 months that I played Fallout 4. So yeah, we're playing it a lot. You don't have to, but it's very fun.
Berkeley, you've played tabletop role playing games with me, and you know that there's one thing I really like, which is shenanigans.
Oh yeah,
Is there shenanigans in Baldur's Gate?
there are some shenanigans. Yeah, I think maybe not quite as many. Well, no, let me walk that back. Yeah, there's like social shenanigans. There's like times where your character can be really flippant. Uh, there's one where I made fun of how someone was pronouncing tiefling, and then they rolled their eyes at me very dramatically. So there's that kind of shenanigans. There's also like, I don't know how to say this, mechanical shenanigans. Uh, Last night when I was playing, my wife and I were just laughing our heads off because I cast like this cloud of daggers spell, and goblins just kept running through it and dying immediately on their way to come kill me. And it was just very like visually comedic to watch that happen.
Just charging again and again through this obvious zone of death.
Yep.
That's awesome.
And other things like the way that you can move furniture, you can throw grease at people and then catch that grease on fire.
Wow.
A lot of what I'm saying is pretty violent. There's non-violent examples too. I just can't think of them right now. So yeah, maybe not quite as much as you would have in a real game with a human DM, because like everything has to be pre-programmed because it's a video game. But there's a lot more versatility than I would have expected. Kind of like how Skyrim is like their physics engine makes it so that there's lots of funny things that can happen.
Oh
It's
yeah.
a similar vibe to that.
Okay. That's awesome. That makes me even more excited about the game.
Yeah. So you were telling me before the stream you're probably going to wait until you're done with school.
Yes.
That's probably wise.
I can't afford to not work all the time, except for when we stream, which then I'm not working. But
I appreciate the time you put into the stream. I know it's a lot for a student.
It's structured. But if I didn't have school, I definitely would play some Baldur's Gate.
Galder's Bait.
Galder's Bait. Berkeley, I might not make it to bed. Oh, this is gonna be close.
Kind of close.
Okay, I didn't make it. I passed out, and I had 2 mahogany seeds. I hope they're still there. Question: if I pass out in my own home, do I still get robbed?
I don't think so. Maybe it's just because I'm the farmhand, but I don't know if I've ever lost money for passing out. And I always pass out on the farm or in the house. I think it might just be if you're in town and pass out that you get robbed. Okay. Or maybe it's because I'm the farmhand.
I think that's another opportunity for a whodunit element in this game, which I'd love to see more of.
Ooh, like instead of telling you Harvey picked you up and charged you 1,000 gold, it could say a mysterious stranger picked you up and charged 1,000 gold. And then maybe if you like find them during that day, you get some of it back.
Yeah.
Is that what you're thinking?
Well, I mean, that's a cool way to do it. I was thinking more along the lines of like you wake up and you're missing 1,000 gold, but you see this clue, you have to figure out who did it, so they go to prison.
Oh,
And maybe the evidence, maybe the truth doesn't matter, Berkeley. Maybe the goal is to fabricate enough evidence to get Mary Lewis recalled from office.
that sounds like a great goal to me. I'm on board. Modders, get to it. I would love to learn how to make mods for this game. I know I've already talked about a lot about mods for this game, but I want more Dungeons and Dragons with Sebastian.
We're gonna have to do that sometime, one of these streams when we get some time, like make some mods and then showcase them. I think that would be fun. Or just
That would be
download some
fun.
mods and showcase them to show what's
Yeah.
possible for PC users. Berkeley, I have not buckets, but a decent amount of salmonberry. Should I put that in this silver chest here?
I would just sell those, honestly.
Okay.
They're good for snacking on if you need energy, but because we don't use tools, I don't think we usually run out of energy.
Yeah, the secret to manual labor is just use your hands and then you won't get
Yep.
tired.
Yeah, I've been doing that at work too. I used to program with a hammer, two little hammers, and now I use my hands and it's so much easier.
Can you imagine watching somebody hunt and peck with two tiny little hammers? No. I would probably walk up and take their keyboard away. They've lost the right to use a keyboard at that point. That is the silliest thing I've ever heard. Now I kind of want to do that just to see what my boss would do when he saw me doing that.
That would be so funny. So I work from home most of the time, and I go into the office about once a month. And so a lot of my coworkers don't know me as well as they know each other. It would be really funny if I were to.
This is how I type, guys. Stop making fun of me.
Good to meet you guys. I think we're gonna get along great.
In a meeting,
Hammer,
pull
hammer.
that out.
Oh dear.
I'm gonna spend money to make bombs, so my apologies.
In the game, right?
Yes, in the game. In the game. So Berkeley, you were talking earlier about, well, before the stream, we were talking about different things that we've done over the last couple of weeks, and I'm not sure if I've talked about this on the stream at all, but I was telling you about this rare book that I have.
Oh yeah.
I don't know where to start with it. Probably from the beginning, which is a very good place to start, according to a musical that I don't remember the name of. So,
Sound of Music.
thank you. The Sound of Music. we, my family, has fallen in love with a British children's book called Uncle. And we discovered it during a period of time where my dad was having some health problems and we weren't sure what the upshot would be. And it was Christmas time, so we were all kind of home, and something that I've always treasured is being read aloud to, and so just dealing with the uncertainty of all that going on. We spent a lot of time listening to my dad read, and I'm not sure how my parents found this book, but they found this book called Uncle, and it's about an elephant who lives in a magical city that it's called Homeward Tower, but it's not one building. It's like an entire system of skyscrapers and other crazy stuff that he inherited from a wizard somehow. And it's just full of anthropomorphic animals doing all sorts of interesting things, and then a couple of non-anthropomorphic humans who usually are up to no good. But the first book is still in print, but I think there's 5, there might even be 6 books total that are quite difficult to get your hands on. They weren't in print, and the guy, as all good stories, aka Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, these stories started as a father telling bedtime stories to his grandkids. And eventually they convinced him to write it down, and it was compiled into a book. And it's quite popular in the UK still, but not popular enough that the later versions or later stories are still in print. So in 2013, a freelance editor and I think he had some publishing experience as well, put out a Kickstarter and got in touch with Neil Gaiman and what is his name? I want to say Quentin Blake. He's a illustrator of kids' books, and some other people who really were passionate about the uncle stories, and in turn got in touch with the family of the guy who wrote the stories and put together a small run. I think there were 2,400 books printed of what they call the Complete Uncle, which is a foreword by Neil Gaiman, I believe a foreword, but definitely illustrations by Quentin Blake, and all 5 stories in one book. And I'm a recording enthusiast, and I particularly enjoy the experience of being read to by my dad, because it's, nostalgic for a lot of reasons that we've talked about and a lot of reasons we haven't. But finally, my dad and I decided that we should put together an audiobook, because the stories are fairly long. I couldn't tell you exactly how long they are, but long enough to be a decent sized book for each of the 5 stories. And I had never seen or found an audio recording besides a couple of amateur recordings done by the guy who wrote the books himself with his family a long time ago. So we figured it would be fun, and I think really, really cool to do a recording of that. But the challenging thing about recording an audiobook is that you don't want to have the book getting in the way. And because they're kind of rare, you also don't want to damage it by accident, like dropping it while you're trying to focus on microphone positioning and whatnot. So I sent my copy off. I found a place that does non-destructive book scanning, and I'm having it turned into an ebook so that I can facilitate that process, but also so that I can share this work of art with my kids and family. So that's what I did.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Wow. That's super special. Thanks for sharing that. I'm a little envious that you got just that that family book to rally around as a family. That's super cool. And then that you put your skills and knowledge to use to getting this in a more permanent form, more shareable form. That's really cool.
Yeah. Thanks for letting me talk about it. I think about it a lot, and I know it's kind of maybe weird to some people to like be into children's literature, but I actually read some of it again when I was home over the summer, and it just really stands up, man. Whoever said that kids' books are for kids, they're not technically wrong, but it's not exclusive either. It's not an exclusive audience, I feel like.
Yeah, I've got a young daughter, and I read to her a lot, and I've found more and more appreciation for that genre, the shows that she watches and the books she reads, like, while recognizing that they're not for me, still being able to appreciate them. And then, like, the things that I had when I was a kid, there's just a really special nostalgia that media can take you back to really quickly.
Yeah, it was really interesting. I don't even remember. Was it the Backyardigans that we were watching when I was over at your place?
Yeah.
That was really quite fascinating to see media produced for kids, and yet there's some level of thought going into the adult audience that also has to ostensibly suffer through, That's kind of cool.
Yeah, we've talked about that with Bluey. It's an Australian children's show that is all the rage right now. It's on Disney Plus if you're interested. But it feels like the episodes are meant to be entertaining for kids, but educational for adults. The parents are constantly the constant. Oh my goodness, the parents are constantly being put in these really complicated parenting scenarios, and they just either react poorly and learn from it, or react really well. And either way, you're learning something as
And
the parent in the room.
I have to ask, is the solution usually for the parents to play with the kids?
Often that is the case. Yeah,
Hmm.
crazy how that works.
This sounds like it was written by kids. That's biased.
It's propaganda. You're just trying to trick me into having fun. Not creating cherished memories.
No.
No.
It was kind of funny when I went to mail the book. So, as I said, it's kind of rare and it doesn't come up for sale too often. I was trying to look at what I should insure it for in case it was
Mhm.
lost in the mail. And I've seen it go on sale for $1,000. I've seen it go on sale for $100. And I think when we originally purchased it, it was £30, but I don't remember what the exchange rate was at the time, pounds to dollars. But I was like worried that if I insured it for $1,000 and they looked up like what the sale price originally was, that they would think it was fraud. So I like was talking to the guy and he didn't care at all. Like I asked him like, so I'm not really sure what to do, and he just looked at me and like dead inside, which is fair, and just said, so what do you want to do? And I was like, okay, I guess we'll do $500. That seems like a good middle of the road to me. And I have just never quite been in a situation where I was nervous and somebody just genuinely didn't care at all what the outcome was.
That's
So,
really funny to think about. Yeah, insuring something that you ship where you're setting the price of the thing, because then there's no incentive to be tied to reality.
yeah, I mean, like you pay a little bit more depending on like how much you're insuring it for, but what happens if you have to make that collection? Like, yeah, it's weird. Because then, like, I think they allow up to $5,000. You could run a racket of like, messing, but I guess that's a felony to mess with Federal Post. But
Yeah.
anyways, just weird to me that you could set the value the way you want to and like there's no control there.
Hmm.
You got to think that whatever insured or claims agent came to like evaluate that would probably call foul.
Yeah, it just really highlights the fine line between insurance and gambling.
Right?
Wow, you were doing a great job of clearing out space.
I spent like $60,000 on bomb components. So there's that, but boy did it work.
Barbara wants to know if it was the red bearded tattooed guy at the post office, because
Yes,
that
it
sounds like
was.
something he'd say.
It was no, it was that guy.
That's so funny.
He was wearing his Iron Maiden shirt too. Yeah.
Amazing.
I guess only the people who actually deliver the mail have to wear a uniform. If you work in the post office, you can wear whatever you want, which is a cool perk.
Or that guy doesn't really work there. That also explains his nonchalance about mail insurance policies.
What was funny though, I forgot to say this. After I was like, oh, $500 sounds like a good middle of the road. He's like, okay. And then he looked at me and was like, it's just the book? And I was like, what do you mean? Of course it's just the book. What do you think I'm trying to do here?
We just had a conversation.
Like, I'm literally. Ugh. Yeah.
That's so funny. Jared, do you mind if I go buy some more grass
I would
for our
mind if you
animals to
didn't.
eat? Oh,
Now you
oh dear.
have to. And you have
Well,
to
that's
enjoy it.
what I've been doing, is not buying grass.
I'm extremely minding right now.
Oh, oh no.
I love that the pigs magically make truffles appear with little zaps of white cloud.
Actually, they dig them up. Very logical.
Yeah,
The
don't
frames are just so fast you can't see them.
don't try to use logic to interrupt my beautiful pig truffle mysticism. Can you make truffle wine? That sounds like it would be really gross in real life.
You can make truffle oil. There's a special machine for it.
Okay.
I don't think we have the stuff you need to make that machine, so I've just been not doing that.
Okay, I planted 2 hardwood trees. Now I'm going to go see if the ones in the desert have grown at all because I when we were kids, my mom thought that it would be cool for us to grow carrots and potatoes. And so we planted them in these little planter boxes that sat on our deck, and we were very excited about them. And my younger brother was so excited about them that he would dig them up regularly to look at how much they had grown. And that's how I feel about these trees.
Yeah, please don't dig them up. There will be no roots for you
No,
to learn from.
nope. And you can't put them back either.
Mm-mm.
Unlike carrots, potatoes.
Can you put carrots back?
Yeah,
Oh my goodness.
they. If I remember correctly, they survived and made it through to like a decent size, and then we ate them.
Wow.
So, yeah,
That's super impressive. Maybe your brother
potatoes.
had the right idea.
Potatoes you can't really dig up and put back. I don't think, but yeah, carrots you can. So,
Hmm.
Pam, why aren't you here? It's 9:20.
But Barman's confirming the carrot survived. Got it on good authority. Not like Jared's authority.
Yeah, what does that guy know? Nothing.
That guy plays Stardew Valley without tools.
How many PhDs does the Hulk have? None. How many PhDs does Bruce Banner have? 5 or 7. I don't know. I'm not a comics fan. I don't know the answer.
So that's the funny thing about Marvel comics and other like fantasy worlds is how people will show that they're smart by having multiple PhDs. So that's just not really a thing as far as I know. I could be wrong, but from my 2 years in academia, you just get the one PhD and then you study whatever you want. Like that's what the PhD is for.
Yeah.
It's a certificate that says I can study whatever I want. So like why would you get another one?
I thought PhD stood for pretty hot dude.
Only if you're Bruce Banner.
Oh, okay. Well, fair enough. Whoa, Berkeley, there's so many. What are these maple trees out here? Oak trees?
Oh yeah, I planted those. Could you grab that sap stuff?
I just did.
Thanks. I was watching on the stream and it's a little delayed.
Oh,
So
yeah.
in my reality, you hadn't done it yet.
I forgot you could see me.
Yep, but just past you.
Yeah, I've known a couple people who got multiple master's degrees, but I don't think I've ever met somebody who got more than one PhD that wasn't where the additional were not just honorary degrees.
Mm, yeah. Welcome everyone. If you're just joining, we've got a lot of people here today. Thanks for tuning in. We're Stardew Valley Tools Aren't Real Edition, and we're playing Stardew Valley without tools. We finished the community center, and now we're working towards perfection, slowly but surely.
All right. I got the resin. I tried to get into the casino, but they wouldn't let me in.
Is there a bouncer there?
Yes.
Yeah, there's like this long chain of side quests that you have to do to get past the bouncer.
Why can't I
I
just
don't.
sword him?
Um, he's got sword repellent deodorant.
Dang. I walk I walk in and I start to swing and then I smell it and I'm like, oh, I guess I can't.
Not allowed.
Alright. I have to seek more information about goblins to get to the witch hut. Am I giving this oak resin to you, I'm assuming?
You can put it in the green chest.
Green chest. Okay. For those of you just tuning into the stream, Berkeley's the mastermind behind everything that we do here. I just run around and kind of flail in different directions.
I don't know about mastermind. I'm definitely the mind. And we finished the community center, so that's something.
That is something.
Before the stream, you were telling me some thoughts you've had about. I'm going to try to say this without sounding facetious because it's totally serious, but about the nature of happiness.
Oh yeah. Well,
Do you want to talk about that?
I'd love to. One of the interesting experiences I've had in my degree, and I'll tie this into happiness in a second, but I feel like this maybe is representative of the general idea because I think it applies to happiness and peace and a lot of other things. Trying to avoid stress didn't actually decrease my stress level. It just postponed it. And I avoided trying to get an internship during some of the years of my college education because I didn't want to be stressed out. I was really intimidated by the internship I have now because it meant that I'd have to work during the semester. And I thought that being stressed out would equal being less happy. But weirdly, that hasn't been true. And it was strange for me to realize that because I felt like putting myself into a challenging position should make me unhappy, right? Like, challenge should make me unhappy, was the mentality I had. But the reality of the experience is that I feel like it's made me stronger as a person. And I know that sounds corny, but like the struggle didn't weaken me or make me less happy or whatever. There is definitely balance that needs to be kept in life, right? I'm not suggesting that you should work 70 hours a week. But, seeking growth is not a road to despair, right? Or chaos or, inner turmoil. Like, those experiences really taught me that happiness or peace or satisfaction or equanimity come from within. And I have spent a lot of time in my life looking for things to make me happy, whether that's new audio equipment or synthesizers or attention or other forms of external validation. None of those things last, right? It's all transient, and it's all outside of my control as well. But the internal dialogue and the internal I don't have a better word for it yet. I laughed as I was telling Berkeley this before the stream because it's such an engineering thing to say. Internal processes of the mind really shape the outcome more than having stuff or even having the goal of happiness does, right? it almost like thinking about trying to be happy makes it harder to be happy than just um, trying to be in the moment. And I know that that sounds kind of weird, but it feels maybe like what mindfulness is supposed to be, right? Like being present, even in challenging situations, allows you to focus less on like whatever emotional response you might have, and more on um, like the world around you. And maybe this is a non sequitur, but I have been taking pictures of bugs for years, but recently I've been sharing them. And I had a really close friend reach out to me on the one that I shared most recently and kind of share that it helps them slow down. And that's exactly how I feel about it and about happiness, is that there's a lot of beauty in things that we don't notice, and or things that are easy to overlook. And for me, I find happiness in um, looking around me and seeing what is there, and not in trying to be happy, right? But rather
Mm-hmm.
in just trying to be, and then the peace and the contentedness comes afterwards, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. Thanks for sharing that.
So I'm not a philosopher, as is apparent. I haven't read a lot of philosophy from my from you can probably tell from the way that I talk about things, because I find philosophy to be pretentious. But Berkeley, I know that you've read some. What's your take on that?
Yeah, so I haven't read a ton, but my favorite philosophies I have read have been Stoicism and Buddhism, and they both like dovetail really well with what you've just been saying. I think you have stumbled onto Buddhism and Stoicism really well. Um, like both philosophies have this idea where, as far as I understand them, like I'm not an expert, but my understanding is that a core idea is that like by striving to be happy, you're getting in your own way, and it's just like what you said. It's kind of accepting where you are and understanding where you are and appreciating where you are. That does lead the way to peace. But if you do that in order to get to peace, then you've missed the point, is what the Buddhists that I've read have said, um, which is really interesting. Like, you can't strive for that state of being. You just have to accept that it's impossible to guarantee your own happiness, and then you fall into that state of being naturally. Yeah, just like letting go of the striving, I think is the best way I would summarize it.
Which is, it's fascinating, because almost that tells you that um, happiness isn't something to be pursued. It's not the product; it's the byproduct.
Mm.
I don't. That sounded deep in my head. Maybe I'm sleep deprived.
Yeah, I think another really interesting point that kind of fits in with everything you said was that there's nothing you can do. This was a huge epiphany for me when I read it a year ago. Was that there's nothing you can do today to guarantee that you'll be happy tomorrow. And so, if you want to take that to an extreme, you can say that tomorrow doesn't even exist because, like, only right now exists. And so, if you spend your time stressing about how will you be happy tomorrow, then you have missed today. I used an analogy that really works for me. That if you spend every meal worrying about what your next meal will be like, then you could live for 1,000 years and literally never enjoy a meal because you'll always be worried about the next one. Um, but if you can just like sit and enjoy your meal, you could only live for 30 years and you would have enjoyed 30 years of meals. Um, yeah. And if you apply that to other areas in life, like there's a lot you can gain by just kind of enjoying where you're at instead of stressing about whether or not you're happy or whether or not you uh, are going to be happy tomorrow. And of course,
Yeah.
that's like, I just want to acknowledge that this is kind of a privileged way of looking at things. Like, you and I don't have to worry about where our next meal is going to come from, and we've got like pretty good financial stability. Um, but assuming that your basic needs are taken care of, then this philosophy can help you a lot.
Yeah, there are a lot of legitimate real challenges that can put you beyond, right? Like if you're not meeting your Maslow's hierarchy of needs basics, then that level of self-actualization is I wouldn't say unobtainable, but definitely maybe not the point at that moment, right?
Hmm.
So yeah, it's not to tell you that if you're dealing with civil war and famine and disease that just stop trying to be happy and you'll be happy.
Yeah.
But more about like learn to appreciate the moments that you have and be present in them and look at the details because there's so many beautiful little things that don't ask for attention but are still beautiful, you know.
Hmm. Yeah, I love the example you gave of just photographing bugs. That sounds like an awesome way to just really kind of connect and ground yourself and focus on what's real and happening.
Yeah, I mean, not I, myself as well. I just learned so much. Just like, oh, look, a weird bug I've never seen before. Let me take a picture of it and look up what it is. And there's so many interesting bugs that I didn't even know could live in the region that I live in or existed before I stopped and saw them. Just, I don't know. I find it amazing how many different types of things are out there in the world that um, I would never experience if I just kept walking, you know?
Mm, yeah, nice. Well, I am a little discouraged that I am not leveling up my foraging. I've spent basically not this whole stream, a good portion of this stream picking berries and picking up forageable items in our greenhouse, and I'm still just at level 7. I think the farther you go, the more it takes to like get to the next level.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like a scaled progression of how many points.
Hmm.
Yeah, I wonder what we could do about that for you. Maybe if I took over your farm duties and then you spent more time in the forest.
No, I think I'm catching all the forageables there are. I think they only repopulate once a week, and I'm definitely covering the whole map once a week.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so. Just be more patient. I need to stop striving for level 10 and just let level 10 come when it's going to come.
All right, Berkeley. The wow. Okay. The pig cart lady says, "I smuggled these goods out of the Gotoro Empire. Why do you think they're so expensive?" Dang. That's some deep
Wow,
lore right there.
that's
Uh
pretty funny.
I have the option to buy a rare seed. I don't know if that's worthwhile. There's also amaranth here.
Yeah, let's get a rare seed. Those grow into the spice berries or gem berries or
Oh,
something,
could
something
we
good.
put that in like a duplicator? Does that exist in this game? Probably not.
So the way it works is you plant it and get the fruit, and then you put the fruit in the seed maker, and it will give you like 1 to 3 seeds for that thing. So you can,
There you go.
it will
Okay.
grow slowly over time, but you do have to plant them in between.
And for each one of those that you plant, you could grow additional. So then you could start like a multiplying.
Yeah.
That seems like a good idea. Is it possible to have more than one greenhouse?
No, just the one.
Okay.
That would be cool. Okay, I'm building more kegs. Do you mind if I try to go buy more wood real fast?
Go for it.
If I can make it in time.
I spent $60,000 on or gold on bomb precursors here, and you have
Oh.
already made back that money and more.
Oh, the pigs did all the work.
You are so industrious, Berkeley. The pigs have done nothing.
Yeah, this game really does make you just a full-fledged capitalist, doesn't it?
You know, if it's the pigs doing the labor, I don't know. I don't know where I was going to go with that.
Well, let's not dehumanize the labor.
Yeah. Why can't I pick up this chair? Why doesn't the X button work like it did when I put it down? Well, I guess I am stuck here forever.
Fun for you.
Oh, it's probably because my inventory's full. I've had such good
Do you
luck
need
with
me to come
mahogany
move something for
seeds.
you?
Oh no, I will probably survive. Let's see here. There we go. All right. I think I've found a total of 4 mahogany seeds
Whoa.
this session, which is
Dang, that's great luck.
it's pretty solid.
Nicely done.
We're moving up in the world. I should probably clear some more land. Maybe I'll do that on this southern area. Wow, it looks like a natural national park up in here.
Yeah, keep in mind that like weeds will continue to grow. Um, it might be good to try to have like a blank border around where the actual mahogany trees are growing so that we can continue to use bombs to fight back the weeds without damaging our
Yeah,
trees.
that is a really good idea. Okay.
Okay, I'm putting 5 more kegs in the shed.
Nice. Are we almost full up in there?
We are about half full,
Wow. Okay.
and there's an upgrade you can buy for the shed once we fill that space, if we want it.
Does it add like a basement?
No, it gets larger on the inside, but not on the
Oh,
outside.
it's a TARDIS upgrade.
Yeah.
Very cool. I think one of the silly things, I don't know. If you love Doctor Who, I don't want to ruin it for you, but I will say that as an adult, Doctor Who can be hard to take sometimes because they're one of the sci-fi branches that just does whatever they want all the time.
There's no rules.
Yeah, and that I think sometimes the limitations are what make the story good.
Mm.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think one of the issues, or one of the reasons it's hard, and they've had to do that, is 'cause there's been so many writers and so many seasons. Like,
Yeah,
you can't have a show run for 60 years and have like a Kevin
perfect.
Feige that's like organizing everything.
Yeah, perfect self-consistency at all times.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's tough.
We have, oh man, I'm gonna make 2 more kegs. I missed some oak resin.
Excellent.
Great day. Jared, I don't know if you've heard a lot about ranked choice voting.
I have heard a little bit about it, and it seems like something that everybody should be doing anywhere that there's voting.
Yeah, if you're not familiar with it, the idea behind ranked choice voting is instead of just voting for one person, you rank all the candidates, top to bottom, who you'd prefer, and then there's a few different like algorithms you can do after that to figure out who the winner is. But the idea is that you end up with someone that's favored by more people. And so that kind of weakens the whole idea of a two-party system, and gives a lot more power to third candidates, if you want to think of it in terms of like current American issues. That would be the main draw, is like weakening the influence of the two parties and trying to get someone that's less extreme. So I've heard a lot about this. It's been a big deal in Utah. There have been big campaigns with billboards against ranked choice voting.
You wouldn't want
There's
everyone to be happy.
Their slogan is one person, one vote, which I think is so funny in a country with an electoral college, but we don't need to get into that.
Yeah.
Um,
Do we not?
and I mean, we can if you want. I've got lots of thoughts about electoral colleges. The reason I bring this up, though, is because I get to participate in a ranked choice election for the first time, but they're throwing me in the deep end because this is for the city council of the city where I live, and I think there's 13 options,
Oh boy.
and then you have to rank them first through 13th,
All right.
which means that there's a lot of researching to do. But I'm gonna do it to show my appreciation for the people that got ranked choice voting implemented in my city.
Yeah, that's
I'm
awesome.
doing it for them, and I hope that we continue this and use it for like our state legislature. And Megan in the chat says there's 17. Jeez Louise.
Berkeley, I have to
I'm
ask.
right out. Those last four are not.
When you rank them, is it whoever gets the most points wins? So technically, whoever you rank 17th, whoever gets the most 17th ranking gets the most points?
That I don't think that is how it works.
Okay.
There's two main algorithms that I'm aware of for this. One is you give, in this case, since there's 17 choices, you give all the first choice votes 17 points, all the second choice votes 16 points, etc., all the way down, and then you add up points that way. The other more common approach would be to say you do just look for a simple majority. If no one has a majority, then you cancel out whoever has the least amount of votes, and whoever put that as their first choice, their second choice then is who they're voting for. So it's like you're running many elections. It's just everyone only has to vote one time instead of voting many times.
Oh, interesting. So that's almost like a bracket type of situation.
Yeah, it's kind of like how a lot of our primaries work in this country. Yeah, or like a bracket where you're eliminating one or two people at a time until someone gets 50% of the vote.
I personally would prefer the first option. That seems better,
Really?
but I don't know if it really is better. It just sounds less conniving.
The hard part about that is then like the difference between a first and second place vote is also the same as the difference between a 13th and 14th place vote, and you're like giving that restriction, and you're forced to give everyone points no matter what. I don't know, but it's a lot easier to understand, and so you won't have people complaining about how things were run. Hopefully, you're always gonna have people complaining about how things were run.
That's true. Anytime an election doesn't go their way.
Yep.
Well, I'm excited for your city. That sounds like a really cool and tangible step forward in the process of democracy for you guys. And I hope
Thanks.
that we can have that nationally someday. And I passed out outside in the grass. Good times.
Me too. I didn't even make it to the farm. I was having so much fun fishing and talking about democracy. It's like Obi-Wan in Star Wars Episode 2. He didn't go fishing. He just went to an ocean planet.
True. Did he pass out though?
Oh, no. I don't think so. Okay, well, I think we're at time. Maybe we can get more into politics next week.
Yeah.
And I think we're slated to play something other than Stardew on the cadence we've been going. We'll let you know on Instagram what we're going to be playing. Yeah, feel free to DM us with requests or let us know on Discord. Speaking of which, you should follow all our social medias, including joining our Discord server. Yeah, it's been fun chatting with people. We got a lot more music recommendations. passing outside in the grass, a fine WSU tradition. Love it.
True.
That's what college is for. Okay, yeah. We've got a link tree in the description of this video if you're on YouTube, or in the About section of our page if you're on Twitch. And we've got links to our YouTube and our Twitch and our Instagram and our Discord. And we would love to see you in all of those places. Anything else to say?
Be there or be square. It's nerf or
Ooh,
nothing.
throwing down the gauntlet. You don't want to be square, do you? All
Ooh.
right. We'll see you next time. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.